Hello everyone, I'm your host BlackTuna. Welcome back in another video. I know it's been a long time this time though, it's not my fault. I didn't have internet for a whole week. In fact, I haven't even streamed for a whole week. But yeah, we're back finally. And we have to talk a little bit about Honkai Star Rail. Unfortunately, I was not one of the few who managed to get into the beta, but in my free time I watched plenty of live streams and videos about the game because yeah, apparently Honkai Star Rail doesn't give a shit about leaks, and I managed to get an understanding of what the game is all about, and sure enough, it is a turn-based RPG. I mean, they already stated that on their website, so I guess it was already set in stone. Some people were already surprised by the game being turn-based, although, you know, it was clearly written on the website. I actually expected it, and I love it. I love turn-based combat. I played lots of gachas on my phone that are turn-based games, and you know, it was actually about time we saw something, you know, with a higher production quality but still in the gacha realm, right? So Honkai Star Rail does just that. It basically merges the best aspects of Genshin and the best aspects of Honkai, but then fuses them with a new form of gameplay that is new to the Impact series, I guess. It also takes some of the worst parts of Genshin Impact, but we will get to that a little bit later. Talking about the strengths of this game, I feel like the characters, for example, they all seem very solid and very distinguished from one another from the very beginning. And not only in terms of personality, but also in terms of gameplay. Now, of course, when it comes down to turn-based games, it's really hard to make a very hard distinction between characters because turn-based games have to play by a certain well-defined rule set, right? So you can't just have a character that, oh my god, he's defying gravity now, he is flying now. So, you know, you have to play by a certain rule set. It's understandable that right now the gameplay seems a little bit flat in the sense that there's really not too much variety. Okay, there's the character that does damage, fire damage, then there's the character that heals up, there's the character that puts shields on the characters. But I'm also confident that in the future, when they release new characters, eventually these rule sets are gonna be expanded upon. So you're gonna eventually have new effects, new powers, because right now, as far as the roster of character goes, they seem a little bit limited in terms of capabilities, because when you enter in battle, you have a basic attack, a normal ability, and then an ultimate ability. So you don't really have multiple choices of action per character, and this is why I'm thinking that the variety of characters is going to be really important. I mean, of course, being a gacha game, they're gonna double down on the characters and the differences between characters. Right now, you can see and feel the differences. Like, the characters feel very different from one another in what they do, but it's the classic difference in the sense that you have the classic DPS character, you have the classic shielding tank characters, you have the classic healing characters. There's nothing really special about them, but again, it's a beta, it's just the beginning. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be plenty of cool characters, just like it happened in Genshin, just like it happens in Honkai. You have characters that always go one step ahead, one step beyond what you think is the coolest thing, right? They always try and redefine the coolest by adding new characters over and over again. So that's why I'm saying the classic turn-based rule set that now Star Rail is using is not gonna be set in stone, of course. It's gonna be modified and expanded upon later on when new characters, new bosses, new mechanics come into play. Right now you also play with elements, so every character is gonna have an element, including physical. Physical damage seems to be a neutral element, and you're gonna have to play on the weaknesses of your enemies. So it's pretty much the classic rock, paper, scissors system, which is great. It works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? In terms of characters themselves, design, aesthetic, animations, I think we are there. Like, the character design is actually pretty solid. Again, as I said, every one of them looks and feels different also in terms of personality, but also the quality of the character models, it's top tier, of course. These guys, MiHoYo now having released Genshin, having released Honkai, and these games being on for several years now, I think they learn a thing or two about 3D models of anime characters. So yeah, you can clearly see they are premium quality anime characters, even their outfits and whatnot. Also remember, this game is meant to be cross-platform, so if you don't see, oh my god, incredible, super 4K textures, it's because this game is meant to be cross-platform, so maybe they are, they're not trying to push the engine too much to avoid performance issues. Other than that, in terms of abilities and animations for the abilities, those ones are pretty good. Like, I do believe they still need some work, because sometimes they're not... Like, you can see how epic they feel. Like, for example, Himeko's ultimate ability is very impactful. It's very impressive to look at, right? I still feel like some animations do need a little bit of extra work. There are some other ultimate abilities that feel a little bit stale. Some others are incredibly, absurdly cool. So yeah, there's still a little bit of polish to give to this game. But again, beta, not concerned. I'm pretty sure everything is gonna be addressed. Same thing goes for audio. Audio design is really not there. I think audio design was probably the worst part of the game for me. And again, I have not played this, I just watched plenty of videos and live streams. And it's not the audio quality that is bad by itself, it's just the audio design. Like when you use an ultimate ability, the sound seems a little bit flat. And I'm not an audio guy, I'm not a sound professional, but I feel it needs a little bit more punch. I think it needs to be richer. Because again, right now it feels a little bit stale. And you know that MiHoYo can deliver on the audio side when it comes down to the sheer audio quality, impact, and punch. So yeah, again, beta, not concerned, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be addressed. Gameplay itself is actually pretty smooth. It's the classic turn-based combat. You can speed it up so animations are slightly faster. Characters have their own speed, so speed is gonna affect their own turn order, and speed can be affected also by other effects in combat. For example, I believe ice slows down enemies or characters, so if you're afflicted by ice, maybe your character is gonna become slower and have its turn a little bit later. Other than that, really pretty simple. There's not really too much to discuss. Is the default turn-based combat system. Again, I hope and I think they're gonna be expanding this, and this reminds me a little bit of Saint Seiya Knights of the Zodiac, the mobile game, the mobile gacha game. When it released in the West, at least, I didn't play the Asian version, the game was pretty default, right? So you had your Knights of the Zodiac, you have Shiryu, you had all the cool characters. But combat was pretty default, pretty dull, nothing special about it. Then later on, when they added more characters, when they added the 8th sense, when they added all that cool shit that comes with it and other godly characters, combat changed a lot. So many new things, new effects. So I feel like Honkai Star Rail is eventually gonna go in that direction, expanding upon the gameplay. So what we're seeing now is just the base structure to give you an understanding. But later on down the line, let's see, 1 year from launch, 2 years from launch, this game is gonna be a completely different beast. Because again, being a live service with gacha, it's only natural that they're gonna be expanding upon what they already have. And this game, again, is a little bit of a mixture between Honkai and Genshin. Mostly because, there's a little bit of an exploration factor to it, but not really too much to be defined as completely open world, right? So mostly even dungeons are just like straight corridors, so when you do those, it's just, the classic straight dungeon. You walk through, you beat enemies on your way, and then there's a final boss fight, a final elite enemy that you have to defeat at the end. So again, nothing groundbreaking on that side. But the thing that I like that they take from Genshin is the actual character screen and the way you can preview your characters, the way you can seamlessly switch between them and upgrade their gear. So there's not too many menus and submenus to go through. It's more like Genshin again. Honkai, you have to go through more clicks to do that same process. But, again, this is why I'm saying it's taking a bit of both. Unfortunately, when you do take a bit of both, it means that you also take some of the negative parts of these games. For example, the one thing that I really don't like about this game, I really don't like it, I can't stand it, comes from Genshin, and it's because I don't even like it in Genshin, and it's the storytelling. Dialogue, storytelling, fake multiple choices, one-on-one conversations with the other NPCs. That has to be the most boring way of telling a story that you can possibly come up with. And it pisses me off because this game is, trying to be a classic RPG with multiple choices. But if you played Genshin, you're well aware that multiple choices really don't make a difference at all in the story. You cannot change the story. What you say doesn't really matter. It's just for you to have, a little bit of fake freedom to make you feel like you're actually saying something different than they expect you to do. but that's actually not the case. And the same thing seems to happen in Honkai Star Rail. You have these fake multiple choices when you're interacting with NPCs, but I've seen people taking different choices and still coming up with the same result. So it really doesn't matter what you pick, and this is why I'm pissed, because you are sacrificing a better storytelling to give me the sense of having a choice in this game. So I would have preferred not having any choice in the matter, any fake multiple choice, and instead having a more cinematic narrative with more dynamic shots and not camera 1, camera 2 type of dialogue. And also I would have preferred if you, as a user, could decide to skip the story entirely, skip all the dialogues available like you can do in Honkai, in the original Honkai. In this game, it's just like Genshin. When there's dialogues going on and you have multiple choices, you cannot skip any of that shit. You have to listen through all of it, even if you don't give a damn about it. Again, this is the worst part for me in Honkai Star Rail, and I hope they address it, because it's really frustrating and annoying. I'm not saying that I don't want to listen to the story, but when it comes down to this plain, flat, fake storytelling with fake multiple choices, I really don't want to stay and listen to it. It doesn't really interest me, especially when it comes down to secondary quests, because this is the same, concept of Genshin Impact. I'm very willing and patient to listen to the main story quest, but when I go and do secondary quests that have virtually nothing to do with what I'm doing or what I care about, I really don't want to stay and listen to 20 minutes of conversation between NPCs I don't give a shit about. But apart from this, my opinions of Honkai Star Rail are absolutely positive. Don't let this make you think that I actually hate the game. That's not the case. I actually enjoy what I'm seeing. I wish I could play it and see it for myself and touch it for myself. Unfortunately, that's not the time for me. But the game definitely looks and plays really well. Again, a little bit of polish around some animation and the audio design, and we're good to go. Again, I can't wait to see what this game will look like 1 year after launch, 2 years after launch, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna become something big and one of the new staples in the turn-based RPG genre, at least in the gacha department, right? Of course, we're not trying to replace any Persona 5, Persona 4 type of games, but in the gacha environment, I think it's fair to say that it has the chances, it has all the cards to become the new staple. Anyway, I'd like to hear what you guys think about this game. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do click the like button, subscribe, and as always, leave a comment down below, because I will see you again soon enough in another video.